Hello everyone. Today something a little different. We're going on a Beltane walk up to a Stone Age hill fort, about an hour's walk from my front door. And this place is my special area. The yellow that you can see on the shrubbery is gorse, the firs we call that. So I'll tell you roughly where I am. I'm along the south coast of England in the South Downs, in the South Downs National Park. And it's a wonderful area south of London. And today is Beltane, May Day, and I often like to come for a walk at the spokes of the pagan wheel just to see how the seasons change. And at this time I can't get together with my grove except on Zoom. So these walks have become very important. And I won't talk the whole time. We'll just enjoy the scenery and the magic of southern England. Okay. So this is a hillside fort that has been settled on since Neolithic times. And what you're seeing in front of you is one of the gateways. And this is all engineered. This was built up. They probably went down to the beach, which is about 3 miles south of us. And these are called ramparts. And this is the gateway, the eastern gateway. And here's a little moat going that way. And that way, and there's the sea in the distance. And there would have been straight tree trunks, cut and pointed and probably charcoal to make them hard as defence. And there would have probably been sentries and gatekeepers here, maybe even an actual gateway. And you can see that they've had to put meshing in to stop it from eroding. And there's the middle of the hill where I've recorded a couple of videos. But today we're going to walk sunwise around the ramparts. And there's the town that I live in and the English Channel. This way we look over to Brighton, and if we continue this way, on a really clear day we can see the Isle of Wight. And this was a settlement, but the Romans took over when they invaded. And this shaped hill is roughly in the shape of a very pregnant woman. And it is said that there was a standing stone up here that we have dubbed the navel stone. And when the Romans took over, They probably knocked it down. They may have kept it. And they built a temple to Diana here. You would have had a temple on one side of the hill, probably in the middle actually, and housing on another part of the hill, and further on around we have lots of dips that have now been filled in. They tunnelled. Oh, look at that yellow hammer. I haven't seen one of those this year. And further around, as I was saying, you would find flint mines. You can probably see lots of flint on the ground. Flint is created in chalk downland, and we are on chalk downland. And the flint was of such a good quality that they have found axes and knives in the Middle East from here. And here are the wild horses. Haven't seen them for a while. Aren't they beautiful? Eating under the sycamore trees in amongst the firs, and the cattle would have eaten that yellow plant there, the gorse, the firs. They would look, the horses nibbling the young shoots, and it was thought to make their milk sweet. I'll be very quiet as I walk past. Give them a bit of a wide berth. Hello? Hello? Are you going to let me past, friend? We'll walk around you. Let's head over towards this gorse. And if you breathe in, you may be able to smell the faint aroma of Hawaiian tropic suntan oil. I kid you not. They have a coconut. They have a coconut buttery fragrance. And they're very protective. Look, the old wood creates big thorns. Lots of young animals and smaller animals would hide in this and have protection. There's lots of brambles here as well. And let's just look at this nice grey horse. What a beauty. So I'm sending this lovely Beltane walk out to everyone, and especially if you can't get out. Lovely violets down there. Very popular place with people from the town. So we're on the inner rampart here. And just try and blank those people out. They're talking about news. Trying to avoid the news today. And I'm just going to head back up onto the actual rampart itself to show you the view. There is a golf course down there, there's sheep grazing, and a town that edges the coast. And originally, all of these areas here that I'm showing along the South Downs, they would have been forested, ancient woodland. And it used to be called Anderida. Anderida was the name of a very ancient goddess. Apparently there's not much information about her. My grove has taken on her name. And then gradually, as farming practices spread west from Babylon, Mesopotamia, Syria, they would have cleared the land for their livestock, sheep, cows, and to plant their crops of barley, wheat. And the landscape was cleared and changed, engineered by humans, because we are a species that is so adaptable. And as we walk now, we are heading westwards. We're walking sunwise, or clockwise. We're at that time in the year when the new, fresh baby green, as I call it, is starting to show itself. The green man is almost at his zenith. See those trees there? There's a nest in the top. A lot of crows up here and ravens and rooks, as well as seagulls because we're so near the sea. So Beltane. Beltane is a spoke in the pagan wheel. We are midpoint between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. You've probably heard of May Day celebrations. The celebrations would have started last night on Beltane Eve. And the village would have come out, the young maids and lads would have paired off and gone frolicking somewhere around. And there is a song written about it. Many songs written about it. That beautiful oak tree down there. And on May Day they would have probably had a fair and festivities, and there would have been a tall tree cut and driven into the ground, and yarns and ribbons and strips of material, long strips of material reaching the ground. And the lads and the lasses, the youngsters, would have all walked around and danced around holding these ribbons, making like a lattice work all the way down. Here is another gateway. So this would be the southern gate. And the sea beyond. We can't see the Isle of Wight today. Let's just walk down these steps carefully. They're doing work here because it's eroding. The Iron Age ramparts of this hill fort are very sensitive and have been damaged by many feet over the last year. Thank you. What views we get from here, and this is where I will come for summer solstice eve. And you may be able, across the next valley, to make out a windmill. It's probably a bit far away for you to see in this video, but I can see the white sails reaching up towards the sky. The farmers would have taken their wheat and barley to, and he would have ground it down. We're now at the side of the hill where they would have been flint mining, and there are lots of little dips, like Teletubby hills we used to call them when my kids were little, if the Teletubbies were out. Rolling hills, you can see how uneven it is. And they filled them in around the Second World War, possibly so that the Germans, if they occupied, wouldn't be able to keep armoury in them. But also, it is said, a lot of children used to go in and play. And it probably wasn't safe. There may have been cave-ins, or they might have simply got lost. There's cattle. A man's introducing his dog to the cows. I am actually terrified of cows, I'll admit. It is a standing joke within my little witchy circle. I have been known to take a massive detour around fields with cattle, even though it is safe for me to walk through. I do not. They always seem to look at me, and they're bigger than me. So now I'm just heading northwards, and we're walking around to the northern side of the hill. And you can see the patchwork quilt fields of England. And those hills in front of you are also called the South Downs. And then there is a big flat plain. And then we reach the North Downs, the Northern Downs, North Downs, either Northern or North Downs. And beyond that is London. You see the bumpy areas there, the way the land is, those dips where the tree and scrub has grown, those are the old flint mines. And the last visualization ASMR I did up here, I actually sat in one of those over there. I'll just show you the matting they've used to try and keep this. There's chicken wire there as well, to try and keep this all in place. I mean, we're We're going back at least 4,000 years since this was built. And look how deep the ditch would have been. Just imagine all of those trees pointed and angled, so that if anyone invaded, they would be impaled on them. And of course it probably worked for different tribes who lived on the hill points around. I'll show you one when we get to it. But of course little tribes were no match for the Roman army. Very well organised. And of course when the Romans came, they even brought elephants. And that must have been a very scary sight. These fantastical creatures that ran. They were so big and they would have been trumpeting. Imagine the fright of seeing an elephant running at you for the first time. And the big Roman brass horns and their standards. Of course they would have seen hundreds, if not thousands, of boats being beached about 3 miles south of us. And they may not have had much notice until they saw that forest on the sea moving towards them. Morning. Lots of people now coming out. It is May Day bank holiday weekend here, and we have rain coming in, so everybody's heading out now. I'll just wait for people to walk past, and then I'll and if you're wondering why I haven't brought my dogs, my dog is now so old that I can only walk around the block with him. And my partner's dog, the ginger staff called Archie, he's always had a bit of a limp in the back leg, so he only ever wants to walk around a block as well. And my dog is quite vicious, doesn't do animals, so I really wouldn't be able to relax if I was always watching for other dogs running up, and so I come alone. Let's stop and have a nice view, and you can probably see directly opposite the middle of this frame is a stand of trees on another hill. That was also a hillside fort, and they have found Roman pottery up there. And the white stiles in the field over there are where they race the race horses. Lots of stables around here. Okay, let's just walk in the dip for a minute. And I can show you. There's the flint, and this is the chalk around it. And here's these two girls again, so just block them out. At least they're being healthy and walking, not congregating in places, which we're still not allowed to do in the UK. on the northern side. And in a few months, in the fields below me, all the wildflowers will be out. Grass will have grown high, not up here, but down on the sides of the hill. And in a few weeks I'll come and do a wildflower walk with you all. Here's all the flint mines, the dips. This is what I call the Teletubby Hills. And when I was a youngster, Dungeons and Dragons were all the rage. We used to come up here with tents and play live Dungeons and Dragons. And of course I was a Druid, that was my character. I actually can't even remember how to play it now. But I know a lot of my Druid brethren and people are getting back into it. Funny how things circle back, fashions and interests, and they always come back slightly differently. The next generation puts its stamp on it, works out better ideas of how to do things, creating a cycle of life. Oh, hello. We all come up and sniff. I can smell my dogs. See the shadows that the clouds are casting. We are due rain this afternoon, that's why I didn't bring my lyre up. And I suppose after the Romans left, 300 AD, and England fell into a bit of disrepair, the Saxons started arriving. In their boats. Everybody wanted a piece of England, this lush, fertile Ireland. If any of you watched Vikings, you would have seen that they kept coming to England, the Norse. And in a little village about half an hour towards the west, King Canute's daughter is buried. So the Vikings did get down here as well, but it's mainly Saxons. And I trace some of my lineage to the Anglo-Saxons. We've hardly had any rain here, the ground is so dry. But it's arriving later today and all of next week. See, it's all cracking. Not so much gorse on this side of the hill, but probably because it's colder as we're facing north, and probably in shadow. But they have done a lot of clearing. They have to clear certain parts of it and manage the land. So sometimes you come up and you see the old 2-metre gorse bushes cut and burnt. And we're coming up to the lone tree, that's what it's been dubbed. Oh, there used to be a bench here. Maybe that's on the next tree round. Yes, it is. There is just a bit there, behind that tree, that gorse rather. There is a little dugout place in the ground where I like to imagine that those on lookout were shielded from the wind, scanning the horizon to the north, looking for invaders or travellers and traders, holy men, sages. Ah yes, there's a bench by the next tree. That's the one called the lone tree. I don't often walk around this side. So Beltane, one of the fire ceremonies of the year, the last of the spring festivals. Imbolc was the first, spring vernal equinox, or Ostara was the second, and now we're at the third, May Day. And the next one is the summer solstice. And sometimes people would walk a labyrinth, casting out what they don't want for the next 6 months, thinking about that as they're walking into the labyrinth. Then when they got to the middle, they would change their mindset and think what they would like to bring towards them over this next 6 months. And that would carry them through to Samhain or Halloween, when they would probably do another labyrinth and think what they wanted for the winter. Hello. And now we face the east, towards Shoreham. And there are churches along here that are Knights Templars churches. And we also have crop circles appear. Not as many as around Stonehenge, which is 2 hour and a half hours drive towards the east and inland. But in the 90s and early thousands there was a lot of crop circle activity here. And the local Saxon church has very unusual corn motifs carved into the ceiling, possibly denoting that the devil's circles, as they called them, were being made even then. And we find most crop circles on chalk downland over natural water springs that bubble up. There's a big crow there. So a lot of memories that the land holds here. You can see the yellows in the fields. That is the rapeseed. what makes rape oil. Someone's gliding a plane, and there's a helicopter, ruining the quiet ambience of the landscape. We have got an airport nearby, a very small airport. Chasing the glider. That's what my partner's dog does. Chases the drones and the helicopters like my partner flies. And now we reach the gateway that we entered again. So we have circumnavigated Sisbury Ring. Whoops, tripped over my foot. And we are arriving back at the Eastwood Gateway. And this is my local PowerPoint. This is where I come to do my magical workings when I can't get a lift with someone to somewhere else. And I have to tell you that if some of you have felt a white dog's energy, he has been with me. He's my old dog Bugsy. He was a cross pit, and we used to walk up here, and he got to 18. We were still walking up here when he was 16, and he has been with me the whole time. And here we are again, back at the gateway. And I'm now going to head towards the middle, but I'll record that another time. So as we get back to the gateway, I'm now going to say